Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us straight out of the Judge Vault, and it was requested by the Shinku Dragon. Amy attacks with Arcbound Worker. Nick blocks with Glistener Elf. What happens? Okay, so first of all, each of these creatures is going to deal 1 combat damage to the other, and they're both going to die. That's not super interesting yet, but let's look at the exact way that they die. After the combat damage step happens, there's going to be some state-based actions that need to be performed. Now, the Glistener Elf has 1 damage marked on it from the Arcbound Worker, so it will have lethal damage on it, and it will be destroyed. Any other state-based actions? Actually, there's 2 of them with the Arcbound Worker. First of all, there's going to be a +1/+1 counter and a -1/-1 counter on it. Both of those counters are going to be removed because there's a state-based action that will remove +1/+1 counters and -1/-1 counters if they're both on the same permanent. Also, the +1/+1 counter is giving the Arcbound Worker +1/+1, and the -1/-1 counter is giving it -1/-1, which means that its toughness and power is 0/0. That means that, as a 0 toughness creature, it'll be put into its owner's graveyard. So, there's 3 state-based actions that need to happen here. Now, the interesting thing about state-based actions is that unlike triggered abilities or continuous effects or replacement effects, there isn't an order that they apply in. They just all apply at once. Now, that's super interesting here because the modular ability from Arcbound Worker is going to be really curious as to how many +1/+1 counters the Arcbound Worker had on it when it died. 0, 1. It's a really unusual situation, and it necessitated its own rule in order to get the answer. If you have state-based actions that cause a permanent to leave the battlefield, and there's any other state-based actions that happen at the same time, then the game state immediately before any state-based actions were performed is what the last known information is going to look at. To put that in more concrete terms, when Modular is going to ask the game how many +1/+1 counters were on Arcbound Worker when it died, the game is going to look to before any state-based actions were performed, at which time there was a +1/+1 counter on Arcbound Worker. So, the modular ability will get 1 +1/+1 counter to work with. This same trick would work with any creature that has a triggered ability that looks at how many counters it had immediately before it died. So for example, if you had a Hangarback Walker, then you would be getting the Hangarback Walker tokens if it died this way. Pretty cool trick, and definitely a very important one to be aware of if you play a deck that uses any of these types of cards. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.